I used to believe that gratitude was something I only felt when life handed me exactly what I wanted. If I got that promotion, finally paid off a big debt, or received good news, my heart would swell with appreciation, and I'd thank the universe with genuine relief and happiness. But if things didn't go my way, if I faced setbacks, delays, or plain old frustration, gratitude was nowhere in sight. It was like a switch I could only turn on when everything aligned, and that, I now realize, kept me stuck in a cycle of wishing and waiting, never truly feeling the abundance I longed for. I'd watch people around me seem effortless in expressing gratitude in their daily lives, even when things weren't perfect, and I'd think, how are they so easy with it? Isn't gratitude only meant for the good times? That belief created this invisible barrier that made me feel like I couldn't truly enjoy or attract abundance without first seeing clear signs of success. I kept waiting for that breakthrough, that perfect moment, that sign that said, yes, now you can be thankful. But the truth is, I was missing a crucial piece, a secret that many people don't talk about openly. Because despite my outward gratitude when things looked good, inside I still carried a quiet resistance to the idea of abundance. Deep down, I'd often think, maybe I shouldn't celebrate too soon. Maybe I should wait until I see real results, tangible proof that I'm on the right track. That waiting and doubting, I realize now, created a gap between my desires and my reality. It's like I was throwing a boomerang into the universe, hoping it would come back, but I hadn't yet learned how to truly send out the energy of gratitude before the manifestation appeared. I was conditioning myself to believe that only after I received could I feel grateful, and that order of events kept the flow of abundance at arm's length. But then, something shifted. I started hearing stories, not just from spiritual teachers or success coaches, but from everyday people who, despite the chaos, could somehow still say thank you in advance. They'd thank the universe, not for what was, but for what was coming. I became curious. Could it really be that simple? Could my attitude toward gratitude be the missing link I'd been overlooking? I had to try it. I had to see if I could reframe my mindset, if I could actually thank with faith, even when the results weren't yet visible. That's when I realized the true power of gratitude isn't just feeling thankful after success has arrived. It's about cultivating a deep, unwavering trust that the universe responds best when you operate from a place of already receiving, even if your physical circumstances haven't caught up yet. It's about shifting from a reactive state to a proactive one, from waiting for proof to knowing that the proof is already mine, simply waiting to be acknowledged. I remember the first time I tried it. I woke up in the morning with a rush of doubt, telling myself, this sounds too good to be true, but I pushed through that voice. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and simply said, thank you, universe, for the abundance coming my way. It felt awkward at first, like I was pretending or faking it, but I persisted, and something unexpected happened. A wave of calm washed over me, and I felt lighter, as if I had already received what I was asking for. I smiled, and for the first time, I truly felt that I didn't need to see it to believe it. I needed to believe it to see it. That experience opened my eyes to a truth I believe many of us are missing. Gratitude is a powerful energetic tool. It's an act of alignment, a declaration that we trust the flow of abundance in our lives. When I started waking up each day and intentionally thanking before anything had manifested, my world began to shift. Opportunities, ideas, connections showed up unexpectedly. My challenges didn't disappear, but my attitude toward them changed. I started seeing them as signs that I was on the right path, that my feeling of gratitude was already creating the reality I desired. So now, I ask you, can you imagine how your life might change if you could embrace gratitude not just as a response, but as a deliberate act of faith before the results show up? What if you could thank the universe for what you're calling in, not because you see it yet, but because deep inside, you know it's on its way? This is what I want to explore with you, because I've learned that gratitude isn't just a nice gesture. It's a vital, hidden key that can unlock the floodgates to your dreams. But you have to be willing to step into it fully, to trust enough to thank even when it looks like nothing has changed. That's the journey I want to share with you today, a journey of awakening, of believing, and of transforming expectation into manifestation. Once I began shifting my approach, I discovered that cultivating appreciation before tangible results isn't just a mental exercise. It's a profound energy adjustment. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you align your frequency with a station broadcasting abundance, everything you desire begins to resonate more clearly. When I started consciously setting my mental dial on feelings of abundance, moments of synchronicity became more frequent. Doors that previously felt sealed swung open unexpectedly, often when I least anticipated them. It's as if creating a state of appreciation acts as a magnet, pulling in opportunities that could never find a resting place in my life if I remained focused on lack. Now, consider how this applies when faced with daily obstacles. Imagine walking through a dense fog of doubt, yet holding tightly to the belief that positive change is on its way. I realize that this fog can obscure your view, making it hard to see the path forward. But by anchoring yourself in a mindset of appreciation before the path reveals itself, you're creating a luminous trail that guides you through the darkness. This shift acts beyond mere optimism. It becomes a deliberate act of aligning your inner energy with your highest intentions. It's like planting seeds in a fertile field, knowing that in time, a lush garden will grow, regardless of how barren or rocky the soil appears at first glance. Furthermore, this internal recalibration influences how we interpret setbacks. If every challenge is an obstacle to be feared, we may inadvertently reinforce feelings of scarcity and frustration. Yet if we see them as vital lessons or signs pointing toward our growth, we change the flavor of our experience. When I started practicing appreciation for the process itself, not just the outcome, I felt an empowering shift. Instead of dreading delays or detours, I regarded them as part of a grand design. Making this mental pivot caused a ripple effect. Each hurdle became an affirmation that I was on the right track, and my focus on positive outcomes only intensified. In this way, appreciation transforms perceived setbacks into stepping stones, reinforcing the confidence that my goals are already at work, making their way toward me. Another layer worth exploring is how cultivated thankfulness rewires our neural paths. Our brains are adaptable, constantly reshaping themselves in response to repeated thoughts and emotions. When I persistently focused on scarcity, my mental pathways fostered worries and self-doubt. When I consciously chose appreciation, I was actually training my mind to prioritize abundance and optimism. This shift wasn't an abstract wish. It was a physical change in how my thoughts wired themselves together. Each moment I acknowledged progress or simply expressed acknowledgement for already available blessings, I reinforced a new mental pattern. It became easier over time to access feelings of abundance without needing external validation. I began to notice how my outlook naturally shifted as my brain reprogrammed itself, allowing me to sustain a mindset rooted in trust rather than fear. In the midst of daily life, this practice acts like a gentle anchor. When the day unfolds with unexpected challenges or doubts creep in, I remind myself to tune into appreciation first, before reacting or worrying. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect, but about choosing a lens that sees potential, possibility, and growth in every circumstance. I remember many evenings when I'd feel overwhelmed, but pausing to acknowledge even the smallest signs of progress reignited a sense of hope and expectation. Over time, that small shift became a habit, an automatic response that primes my energetic field to attract more aligned experiences. It's as if my mind and spirit become a finely tuned instrument, vibrating in harmony with abundance, instead of discord with scarcity. As you experiment with this idea, realize that cultivating appreciation doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It can be a simple shift in perspective, noticing the little things, acknowledging progress in your day, or silently affirming, "This is incoming." These tiny acts compound into a powerful force that acts beneath conscious awareness. They begin to shape your entire energetic blueprint, making it easier for opportunities to land in your lap without grasping or forcing. When you master the art of appreciating before your goals materialize, you're completing the vital step of aligning your inner vibration with the reality you desire, transforming expectation into a magnetic force that draws abundance naturally and effortlessly. As I delved deeper into this practice, I began to see how truly transformative it is to acknowledge abundance, as if it's already present in your life. It's like planting a seed and watering it daily, not just hoping that it will grow someday, but confidently expecting it to blossom right now. That expectation, that unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours, shifts your entire vibrational state. I realized that it's not just about repeating affirmations or positive statements. It's about embodying the energy of having received. Imagine walking through your day with that sense, that deep knowing, that the gains you seek are already sealed and set in motion, regardless of current circumstances. This mental stance creates a gravitational pull that draws opportunities and encounters that align perfectly with your dreams. Furthermore, paying attention to your internal dialogue reveals its tremendous influence. When you choose to speak to yourself with words of completion rather than lack, you act as a catalyst for change. If I catch myself thinking, "I wish I had more money," I gently redirect that thought into, "Money flows easily to me," or better yet, "I am already surrounded by abundance." It's not about ignoring the gaps or pretending the challenges don't exist, but instead about shifting focus away from what's missing toward what's already manifesting. Transferring mental energy from scarcity to sufficiency rewires your subconscious mind, setting a foundation where visualization no longer feels like wishful thinking, but a recognition of what's already in process. This shift also has a profound effect on how you respond to everyday events. If I find myself frustrated because a situation isn't unfolding as quickly as I'd like, I remind myself that accelerated timing is often the result of my inner alignment. Reacting with impatience or skepticism only reinforces barriers. Conversely, reaffirming that everything is working out smoothly recalibrates my outlook. It's similar to steering a ship. Once you've set the course with confidence, even choppy waters can't throw you off course. I've come to see that the way I perceive and interpret events acts as a kind of compass, either guiding me toward my desires or steering me away from them. Another important aspect is cultivating a sense of ownership over one's energy. I have learned that claiming full responsibility for my feelings and thoughts is empowering. It's easy to blame circumstances or other people for perceived shortcomings, but that only keeps us tethered to a cycle of frustration. Instead, I started noticing how my mood directly impacts what I attract. When I choose to hold a positive, abundant feeling, regardless of external factors, I am not acting out of pretend optimism, but out of a firm belief that I am shaping my reality intentionally. In doing so, I step into a role of creator rather than passive recipient. Recognizing that my inner state influences my outer world is liberating because it puts control back into my hands. This alignment also involves being receptive to signs and synchronicities that confirm the trust one am cultivating. For example, I might meet someone unexpectedly who introduces me to new opportunities, or I might stumble upon an idea that seems to appear out of nowhere. These moments serve as gentle confirmations that my mental and emotional focus is resonating with what's already in motion. Instead of dismissing these coincidences as mere chance, I shifted my perspective to see them as indicators of my growing vibrational alignment. Paying attention to these subtle signals helps reinforce my confidence and deepens my commitment to the process. It's as if each small breakthrough builds a bridge between my inner certainty and external reality, making the transition smoother and more effortless. Eventually, I realized that continually aligning myself with thoughts of sufficiency and belief not only speeds up manifestation, but also deepens my sense of inner peace. Life becomes less of a grind and more of a joyful dance, trusting that what I desire is on its way and that I am actively participating in its arrival. It's a mindset rooted in faith, not desperation, in confidence, not doubt. This shift creates a powerful ripple effect. When I embody this energy, I naturally start attracting more positive circumstances because I'm radiating the sensation of already having what I seek. My focus transforms from "I hope" to "I know." And in that knowing, I find a resilience that can't be shaken, regardless of appearances. That's the real secret. Believing so deeply that there's no room left for uncertainty, only for the joyful expectation of abundance already making its way toward me. As I continued practicing the habit of embodying appreciation before concrete results emerged, I realized how deeply energetic patterns influence what we attract. It's as if every thought, every feeling sends out a signature, an invisible melody that calls forth similar vibrations. The key is understanding that the tone we set internally doesn't have to wait for external confirmations because the foundation of manifesting is built within. When I began to feel completely enough, as if I had already crossed the finish line, I noticed a subtle but powerful change in how opportunities presented themselves. What was once perceived as coincidence now felt like a harmonious response to my internal rhythm. Imagine the mind as the gardener tending a fertile field. What it chooses to cultivate will inevitably grow. If I focus on scarcity, I'm planting weeds that choke out the flowers of my dreams. Conversely, when I cultivate appreciation as a daily practice, I'm sowing seeds of abundance and possibility. For example, I started setting intentions during quiet moments, visualizing myself already living the life I desired, then aligning my feelings to match that image. It's akin to tuning a piano. Every time I pruned negative doubts and replaced them with affirming sensations, I was adjusting the strings to produce a richer, more resonant tone. Over time, these harmonious notes drew in circumstances that echoed that same harmony. Building on this, I observed that emotions act like currents that effortlessly carry our intentions into reality. When I learned to elicit feelings of joy or satisfaction regardless of outward circumstances, I was effectively translating my wishes into a higher vibrational language. Just like a boat catches the wind to glide across water, our emotional state propels our manifestations forward. It becomes essential to distinguish between choosing feelings and waiting for them to arise spontaneously. I found that deliberately generating feelings of already having what I wanted, despite any temporary appearances, created a vortex that pulled my desires closer. Another layer to consider involves becoming increasingly aware of resistance that secretly lurks beneath surface thoughts. These hidden doubts often operate below consciousness, subtly sabotaging progress. For example, I'd catch myself saying, "It's too good to be true," or "I probably won't get what I want," without even realizing how much those phrases diminish my energy. The moment I brought awareness to these internal dialogues, I could choose to reframe them. Instead of dismissing my doubts outright, I made them opportunities for compassionate correction. I would pause, acknowledge the fear, then gently remind myself that my confidence and trust are the true catalysts. The more I practiced shifting my inner narrative, the easier it became to maintain a steady energetic flow. This process is similar to turning a large ship. Once you set the right course, adjustments are necessary, but should be made with gentle persistence, never abrupt tension. Abrupt reactions to setbacks tend to cause unnecessary resistance, like throwing a wrench into the gears. Instead, maintaining a calm, centered feeling allows momentum to build beneath the surface, even if immediate changes seem slow or nowhere near what I envisioned. I've learned that letting go of the attachment to specific outcomes doesn't mean abandoning desire. It reinforces my inner clarity, making success more accessible. It's about trusting that everything is aligning perfectly, even if the external scenery isn't yet showing signs. Now, contemplate how this perspective influences daily routines. As I began to infuse every activity with a sense of possibility, whether I was working on a project, interacting with others, or purely resting, my energy oscillated at a frequency conducive to manifestation. Instead of perceiving moments as interruptions or mundane, I started seeing them as opportunities to reaffirm my belief that what I want is already unfolding. For instance, when I encountered delays or obstacles, I would observe my reaction, then choose to return focus to feelings of completeness and satisfaction. This conscious redirecting of thoughts transformed perceived setbacks into confirmations that I was cultivating the right vibrational environment. Over time, I detected an unmistakable pattern. Authentic joy and appreciation act like invisible bridges connecting present thoughts to future realities. They act as signals to attract what aligns with positive energy. When I learned to elevate my mood deliberately, I noticed an increasing richness in my life experience. Unexpected helpful encounters, inspired ideas, and moments of clarity. The change wasn't accidental. It originated from consistently choosing to feel good, regardless of circumstances. It's as if I became a magnet for blessings simply by stabilizing my internal state. This insight propelled me further, reinforcing the power of internal focus over external circumstances. By elevating my feelings into states of fullness and appreciation, I was strengthening my energetic link to abundant conditions. In essence, by becoming fully conscious of the power I hold through my emotional attitude, I discovered that I could navigate the inner landscape with precision. Handling doubts, fears, or frustrations with compassion and gentle correction kept my vibrational channel open. This practice creates a momentum that is not easily disturbed by temporary setbacks. It encourages a profound trust that the picture I hold within, the feelings of already having, will draw those very conditions into my physical experience. That's when I saw transformation unfold, not because of the external signs alone, but because I had mastered the art of aligning my energy with the future I desire long before it materializes in form. When I started to realize the subtle but vital distinction between wishing and expecting, I discovered it expands beyond the realm of thoughts into the entire fabric of how I experience each day. Expectation isn't simply about hoping something will happen. It's an internal commitment. It's like planting a seed in deeply fertile soil and trusting that, without interference, growth is inevitable. If I approach my goals with certainty instead of doubt, my energy becomes laser-focused, cutting through mental fog and dissonance that typically cloud my clarity. There's a clarity that comes with consciously cementing in my mind, "This is already happening," which transforms my daily actions. They suddenly become more aligned, more intentional, because I'm no longer acting in a state of uncertainty, but from a place of conviction. Reflecting further, I've noticed that when I deepen my expectation, I naturally begin to notice subtle signs, small confirmations, more frequently. It's as if my focus sharpens, making me more perceptive to opportunities that might have previously gone unnoticed. Perhaps someone mentions a new idea that resonates, or a chance conversation ignites a spark of inspiration. These aren't random. They serve as gentle nudges that I'm aligned with the energy I'm cultivating internally. They function as reminders that I am actively co-creating my reality with every thought I nurture. Instead of dismissing these moments as coincidence, I began to see them as part of a larger pattern, proof that what I hold in my mind is becoming tangible. Meanwhile, I became more acutely aware of how my expectations influence my moods and, in turn, my experiences. When I hold a sense of certainty about receiving abundance, I carry an inner warmth even amid frustration or setbacks. Conversely, if doubts creep in, even momentarily, I notice a subtle chill taking over my feeling tone, which then affects everything I attract. It's almost as if I am tuning a radio receiver. The clearer I am about the station I desire, through expectation, the more crisp and vibrant the signal becomes. Mistakes or delays serve less as obstacles and more as signals that I need to readjust my internal frequency. By refining my mental dial continuously, I heighten the clarity of my vibrational output, making my manifestation process more efficient and fluid. Another point I've come to understand vividly involves how expectation shapes my emotional landscape. It's easy to dismiss feelings as superficial, but I've learned that they are incredibly powerful indicators of alignment. When I fully inhabit the feeling of already having my desires, I activate an energetic flow that feels expansive and buoyant. That sensation isn't manufactured. It's genuine, born from a sense of gratitude paired with settled trust. For anyone who struggles with persistent doubts, think of it like filling a container that's half empty. No matter how much I pour in, if the container isn't sealed tightly, some energy leaks out. But when I seal that container with a firm expectation, I lock in my energy, creating a reservoir that draws what I need when I need it. Expectation becomes the lid that keeps the flow contained and directed. At first, I faced moments where internal chatter tried to sabotage this process. The voice of skepticism would whisper, "You can't possibly already have it," or "You're only fooling yourself." I found that acknowledging that voice without engaging it is crucial. Instead of fighting or resisting, I simply observe its presence, then gently redirect my focus back to feelings of abundance and certainty. This practice of gentle redirection, rather than suppression, allowed me to maintain a steady vibrational core. It's like steering a large ship across turbulent waters. Small adjustments in the helm are necessary, but rushing or veering wildly only results in losing momentum. Confidence, in this context, isn't about denial but rather about consistent, conscious alignment, and that persistence shapes the outcomes I experience. Deepening expectation also meant learning how to stay present even when results aren't yet visible. I used to think that patience was passive. Now I see it as active trust, choosing to dwell in the knowing that what is meant for me is already on its way, regardless of external appearances. Cultivating this sense requires me to forget about time constraints and instead focus on the certainty I carry inside. When I quiet the urge to check or control, I allow the natural current of energy to flow more freely. It's similar to setting a course on a GPS. Once that is locked in, I don't second-guess every turn or moment of pause. Trust becomes a navigational tool that guides my actions with calm assurance. That inner conviction charges my intentions, making them more potent and less susceptible to reverse influence. In practicing this deeper level of expectation, I've noticed that the boundary between desire and realization begins to dissolve. The sky seems wider, the possibilities more expansive. I sense that I'm no longer relying on external validation because my internal mental landscape has shifted into an unwavering place of certainty. The more I nurture that internal environment, the less I feel the need to manipulate circumstances. Instead, I focus on embodying the energy of already having achieved what I seek. Like a painter completing a masterpiece in their mind before a single brushstroke, I start operating from the finished picture. That confidence in what's coming transforms my daily rhythm and my overall sense of harmony. When expectation is infused with fresh momentum each day, the energy of what I desire becomes not just a distant wish, but an active, guiding force in my experience. Once I recognize that expectation fundamentally shapes how I navigate through daily life, I understood the importance of aligning my entire being with the picture I wish to bring forth. It's more than a mental exercise. It's cultivating a visceral experience that influences every decision and attitude. For example, I began to notice how my posture, tone of voice, and facial expressions subtly shifted depending on the certainty I held within. When I maintained unwavering belief in my goals, I felt a changed presence, a sense of authority and peace that radiated outward. This isn't about superficial positivity, but an embodied conviction that transforms how I interact with the world around me. Take a moment to reflect. When you're truly convinced that your aspirations are inevitable, your behavior naturally reflects that feeling. Confidence leads to more assertive commitments, open-mindedness, and receptivity to opportunities. Conversely, doubt fosters hesitation, second-guessing, and a closed-off posture. This isn't happenstance. It's a direct reflection of internal state manifesting externally. When I prioritize this internal consistency, visible results inevitably followed because my entire energy field was calibrated to support the manifestation. The secret lies in practicing this alignment until it becomes automatic, so integrated that shifting into a state of assured expectation happens without intentional effort. It's akin to tuning a musical instrument. Once properly calibrated, every note harmonizes effortlessly. Building resilience becomes essential when setbacks appear, especially because they often ignite a wave of uncertainty. During those times, I discovered that cultivating an unwavering belief often requires deliberate mental shifts. Instead of allowing doubts to spiral, I learned to reframe obstacles as temporary conditions, deliberate opportunities to refine my focus rather than affirm my limitations. This perspective acts as a mental armor, insulating my confidence from external disturbances. For instance, if a particular effort doesn't produce immediate results, I remind myself that I am in the midst of a process unfolding in perfect timing. Every hesitation or delay is merely an indicator that timing is shifting in my favor, not a sign that I am failing. Embracing patience with this understanding keeps my focus sharp and my vibration steady, avoiding the trap of frustration or discouragement. Another aspect I explored deeply involves emotional consistency. When I operate from a sustained state of gratitude and belief, I find that my internal landscape feels expansive, almost as if I'm surrounded by a protective barrier that filters out negativity. This isn't denial, it's a conscious choice of focus. Once I train myself to find genuine appreciation in small moments, be it a kind word from a stranger or a simple breakthrough. I strengthened my capacity to maintain positivity amid external chaos. Such practices amplify the intensity of conviction, transforming fleeting feelings into a resilient attitude that can withstand setbacks without losing momentum. Over time, I began noticing how my surroundings mirrored this internal shift, with synchronicities amplifying and opportunities lining up more naturally than before. Deliberate attention to emotional patterns revealed that feelings of doubt or impatience are like gusts of wind trying to blow us off course. What separates those who succeed from those who stall is the ability to anchor themselves, extinguishing restless waves with the anchor of unwavering belief. It's about choosing to feel safe and certain in the knowledge that the circumstances are simply info signals rather than barriers. I found it helpful to develop a mental fortress, a space I could retreat to when external conditions threatened to disturb my peace. This sanctuary of trust isn't built overnight. It's reinforced by daily acts of affirmation, visualization, and acknowledgement of progress. As I did this, I noticed a gradual shift. Things that once felt distant began to appear more tangible, like distant echoes drawing nearer. Now, consider how this approach influences your interactions throughout the day. When I cultivate strong expectations, I notice how doors tend to open with less resistance. Conversations flow more effortlessly, challenges feel less overwhelming, and my perception of what's possible expands. My mindset transforms from reactive to proactive, ensuring that each moment becomes an opportunity to reinforce my vision rather than a mere obstacle. It's similar to cultivating a fertile field. The more care I dedicate to nurturing belief and clarity, the more abundant my harvest of achievements. Positivity becomes the default mode because I no longer see the external world as the sole determinant of my experience. Instead, it's the fertile ground that responds to the internal landscape I create with my convictions and intentions. When I shift focus to this deeper level of expectation, I feel an internal power surging, one that compels circumstances to align more seamlessly, smoother than I could have imagined before. That's the essence of mastering this principle. When your inner certainty reaches a point where external circumstances feel secondary, manifestation accelerates naturally and effortlessly. Reflecting on this journey so far, I realize how every element we've explored is interconnected, weaving together into a cohesive fabric of transformation. It's like tuning a complex orchestra. Each instrument's pitch influences the harmony of the entire symphony. When I examined my internal landscape, mind, emotions, beliefs, it became clear that subtle shifts could dramatically alter the course of what manifests in my reality. What I've come to understand is that these adjustments operate as the unseen currents beneath surface disturbances, often guiding unfolding events in ways that seem almost magical in their timing and precision. In essence, the process isn't about doing more or forcing circumstances into alignment. Instead, it's about cultivating a deep sense of trust in the inherent flow of life. That trust, once rooted, acts as a catalyst for circumstances to align themselves more effortlessly. It's as if I've moved from pushing against obstacles to creating a gentle, guiding current that draws all necessary elements toward me in perfect harmony. This is where the power of a refined internal perspective becomes unmistakably clear. When your thoughts and feelings are calibrated to receiving, opportunities naturally gravitate toward you, much like a magnet seeking what it's designed to attract. It's fascinating to observe how this internal recalibration shifts perceptions, making hurdles less formidable and turning what once appeared as setbacks into signals that your intentions are still on course. Without the need for brute effort, a subtle change in attitude can soften resistance and open pathways that were previously hidden or blocked. It's as if a new vantage point allows you to see beyond the limited scope of immediate circumstances, revealing opportunities hiding behind what once looked like insurmountable walls. This vantage point isn't merely mental. It's rooted in a deeply felt conviction that what's meant to be will come into view at exactly the right moment. The real magic lies in synchronized alignment, where feelings and beliefs resonate at the same frequency, creating a vibrational chorus that lawfully draws circumstances rather than waits for external action. When I grasped this, I realized the importance of nurturing a fertile ground within, an environment where seeds of desire could sprout unencumbered by doubts or fears. What begins as a spark in the subconscious grows into a confident expectation that feels entirely natural, an unwavering current that guides my choices, my intentions, and my outlook, an affirmation that everything is working in my favor, even when appearances suggest otherwise. To reach this point, I learned to cultivate patience as a dynamic force, not a passive waiting game. It's an active trust that the unfolding process is unfolding for my highest good. This shift makes it unnecessary to chase or manipulate external results. Instead, I focus on refining my internal landscape, shaping a mental environment where abundance seems inevitable, simply because I hold it as a truth. Over time, this attitude begins to act as an anchor, stabilizing fluctuations and anchoring the mind in a place of calm confidence. It's in this state of being, not doing, where a profound sense of fulfillment resides and the groundwork is laid for circumstances to align effortlessly. What I've realized is that the transition from desire to manifestation hinges on subtle internal adjustments, an ongoing process of refining beliefs, feelings, and perceptions. When these elements are harmonized, the outward scene adjusts itself in accordance. Circumstances no longer appear as external forces to be battled, but as reflections of the internal shift. Suddenly, the pace of change appears less frantic, more natural, flowing in rhythm with inner conviction. The dance of life becomes an elegant, synchronized movement, guided by an inner rhythm you trust implicitly. This awareness encourages a gentle surrender, a releasing of resistance, which paradoxically accelerates the appearance of what once seemed distant. It's a true testament to how powerful the mind and heart can be when paired with deliberate intention. When I observe this in my own experience, I recognize the profound truth that one's inner state is the foundation for all external circumstance. By cultivating a mental landscape of abundance and trust, I set a process in motion that is inherently aligned with the natural order of things, an order that favors harmony over struggle, flow over resistance. In embracing this understanding, I find myself more present, more attuned to the subtle signals that life offers. Every small sign becomes a confirmation rather than an anomaly, a gentle nudge guiding me to keep faith. And in that faith, I sense the oncoming arrival of what I've declared as mine, final proof that mastery over internal states is the true key to transforming dreams into tangible reality. Once I embraced the deep truth that our inner landscape shapes the reality we encounter daily, everything began to shift profoundly. It's as if a veil was lifted, revealing how the subtle art of aligning one's inner state unlocks the door to limitless possibility. Walking this path, I learned a powerful lesson. Genuine transformation arises from cultivating a sense of unwavering certainty. It's about feeling as if success has already been secured, even before any external signs unfold. When I start each day affirming my belief in abundance, speaking from a place of deep trust, I set an energetic tone that resonates through every action and thought. It's as if I plant an invisible flag in the universe, claiming what I desire simply because I accept it as already mine. This perspective rewired my entire approach to life's inevitable ebbs and flows. Challenges transformed from obstacles into opportunities for reaffirming my inner belief. When doubts try to creep in, I refuse to give them power. Instead, I see them as fleeting illusions passing through a well-rooted certainty. There's a quiet peace that emerges from moving beyond the oscillation of hope and fear, substituting them with an active, embodied trust that all is unfolding perfectly. That inner assurance becomes a beacon, guiding me through moments of uncertainty. It reminds me that the universe responds more swiftly when I operate from a place of complete conviction, not from one of wishful wishing or longing. What this journey has shown me is that the emotional tone I carry influences the very fabric of my experience. Feeling gratitude in advance acts as a magnet that draws abundant conditions into physical form. When I set my intention and allow myself to bask in the sensation of already having achieved my goals, I create a powerful current that propels me forward. This isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about cultivating a state of being that naturally attracts synchronicities, inspired ideas, and aligned encounters. The subtle art of maintaining this energetic posture requires vigilance and kindness toward oneself. It's about nurturing an internal environment that trusts in the unfolding process, despite any apparent delays or unpredictability. Beyond mere mental exercises, I discovered the importance of embodying that confidence. It's not enough to think positively. Feelings of fulfillment must become a natural expression of who I am. When I walk through my days feeling as if success is inevitable, my actions seem more purposeful, my interactions become infused with intention, and opportunities present themselves with graceful ease. These shifts aren't confined to specific moments. They ripple outward, subtly recalibrating my entire state of being. My external circumstances begin to mirror my internal assurance, creating a harmony that fosters growth and abundance in every area of life. Taking this understanding further, I see how the power of internal alignment extends into how I respond to situations I cannot control. Instead of engaging with resistance or frustration, I now observe these reactions and choose to reset my focus. In these quiet moments, I remind myself that the universe operates on energetic principles, not on external appearances alone. This realization allows me to transition from feeling like a passive recipient into someone actively co-creating. The inner certainty I develop becomes a guiding light, illuminating pathways that were once obscured by doubt or impatience. This shift in perception transforms the journey from a struggle into a dance, where every step is guided by a deep trust in the process. Looking back, I understand that patience is not a passive waiting, but an active state of trust that things are working out for the highest good. When I release the need for immediate confirmation, I open space for miracles to occur naturally. The moment I surrender attachment to specific outcomes, I create room for surprises and inspired opportunities to flow into my life. It's as if I am clearing a path that allows abundance to enter freely, without force, without frustration, solely through the vibrational harmony I cultivate from within. That internal harmony becomes a magnetic force that effortlessly pulls my desires closer, aligning circumstances in a way that feels almost divine. In embracing this truth, I realize that the journey of manifestation is less about chasing and more about becoming. It depends on the quality of my inner world, the stories I tell myself, the emotions I cultivate, the belief systems I nurture. When I direct attention inward to create a sense of completeness, I am weaving a tapestry of abundance that attracts everything I need. And in that process, I come alive with a confidence that no external condition can diminish. Each moment becomes an opportunity to reaffirm this perspective, transforming ordinary experiences into powerful affirmations of what's possible. Moving forward, I carry a profound understanding. The most effective way to shape the future is to first build its foundation in unwavering inner conviction, which, when sustained, turns dreams into living reality, seamlessly, effortlessly, forever.